The WFIL stations today salute Downingtown, Pennsylvania, hub of Chester County in the heart of the Great Valley. Downingtown, a community rich in tradition and history, today a booming industrial and growing residential town, along the main line midway between Philadelphia and Lancaster. Originally settled in 1710, first known as Milltown, Downingtown, ultimately named for one of its hardy founding families, the Downings, established as a borough in 1859. This is Roy Nassau reporting. The passing of the years have brought about great changes in the face of the community. Today, Borough Manager Walter Leland typifies the long line of persevering and resourceful people who have carried Downingtown to its present stature in the community life of the Delaware Valley. Mr. Leland, as Borough Manager of Downingtown, what do you strive for within the overall framework of the community?
Well, I think that our target could be best described as trying to build and maintain a balanced community. By that I mean a balance between industry, homes, and the facilities for both of them. We are oriented, as a borough, we are oriented toward a favorable climate for industry. This is evident, I think, in our past performances. We have tried to anticipate the needs before they arose. Our tax situation has remained constant, even this year, to the point of reducing 1 mill. We have good governmental and social relations with the industries, and very happily situated with the industries we have. You know, we have some 14 to 16 of them, well diversified.
As is the case in so many Delaware Valley communities whose histories predate the Revolutionary War and the independence of this nation, the homes of Downingtown still reflect the sturdiness of early pioneers who built their shelters to withstand the rush of time. Today, Downingtown's large, comfortable homes are in direct contrast to the large, comfortable homes that were built before the turn of this century. More than 250 new houses have sprung up in Downingtown during the past decade. For Downingtown is readily and easily accessible by mainline commuter train, limited access highway, and Pennsylvania Turnpike to Greater Philadelphia. It is attracting those who delight in the leisurely living of a small town, but who also like the proximity and activity of the big city on occasion. With the building of new homes comes the companion construction of apartments circa 1965, with more than 500 now available within the borough limits. But to many, it's still the older homes with craftsmanship unmatched today that are the eye catchers. The arrival of new residents, new families, has also given new meaning, new standards, new direction to the religious life of Downingtown, long a proud part of its long heritage. Downingtown Minister and President, Reverend M. Taylor, explains the new face. Reverend Taylor, during the last 5 years, many new folks have moved into Downingtown. What has this meant to the religious community of the city?
Well, of course, this has meant we have had an increase in worship attendance, increase in church school membership, and as a result, our facilities are expanding beyond what we presently in most churches are able to handle. Consequently, there are at least 4 of our churches looking actively at new sites, planning for relocation, new buildings, and the like. This has meant a great boost to the religious interest in the community in many ways. I think it's indicative that this is a part of this program today, that the interest of the churches is a vital factor in the community.
Many of Downingtown's churches were erected before the community was established in 1859. Others shortly thereafter. As noted by Reverend Taylor, some houses of worship are relocating with construction soon to get underway. The history of the Catholic Church goes back to 1804. St. Joseph's Church was dedicated in 1852, still stands on its original site with a parish of more than 600 families. The members of the Society of Friends were among the very first settlers in Downingtown, the first Quaker meeting house built in 1806. It still stands with its carriage sheds to accommodate those who might drive to worship by horse and buggy. All Christian faiths are represented in Downingtown's religious life and attend the 10 churches in town and in the nearby areas. Members of the Jewish faith worship in nearby Coatesville. But as the religious life has expanded in Downingtown, so has the individual interest of those attending church. And this interest, reports Reverend Taylor, has had a strong impact on the Downingtown community life.
I think probably the greatest impact that the churches have made is through the many people working in the many organizations of the community. One of those areas of life which many people have a very vital role to play. They are related to churches, and in this sense they are being the church rather than just attending worship on a given Sunday and what have you. And I think this is the major impact that is being made throughout all of Downingtown, and we're real happy for this.
Downingtown is justifiably proud of its outstanding recreational facilities located in the heart of town. The foresight of borough citizens responsible for Kerr Memorial Park, 45 acres of open space located in beautiful natural surroundings along Brandywine Creek. The park, now nearly 40 years old, is fully equipped for everything from baseball to barbecues. Its establishment to the everlasting credit of the Downingtown Businessmen's Club and other contributing civic organizations. To longtime residents of Downingtown, the history of their town cannot be told without the story of placid Brandywine Creek that twists and winds through the community. Its water supply down through the years, a main factor for industrial growth, as we shall soon see. Downingtown's educational life has kept pace with every other expanding community interest, and Downingtown Superintendent of Schools, Raymond R. Balker, reveals his philosophy for today's educational demands.
The philosophy and the objectives of our schools consist of interest in the whole child, not only in the intellectual development, but also the social, the emotional, the physical, and the moral development of the child. Our district is dedicated and very much in earnest in providing this full program for every boy and girl in our district. The community is putting forth a special effort to make this possible with the type of facilities that we are building in our community. At the present time, the community operates 2 high schools and 4 elementary schools. In addition to that, a large addition is presently under construction in the senior high school, which will double the capacity to a total of 1,450 students. At one of our elementary buildings, an addition is in progress, which will increase the capacity of that school to 720 students. The school board has purchased a new site for an additional junior high school, which will be located near the Downingtown interchange of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Within the next 2 or 3 years, every boy and girl in our district will have an opportunity to attend a new school building or a modernized school building.
Historians tell us the first school in the heart of the Great Valley was opened in 1774, a far cry from today's modern structures. The first school on the road from Milltown to Euclan, and that's spelled U-W-C-H-L-A-N, pronounced Euclan. The name never changed to protect those of us ignorant of just the proper way to say it. Today's Downingtown schools have great pride to the borough. The construction of much-needed classroom space well underway. All public school children within a few short years will be going to classes in a new building or one that has been completely modernized. St. Joseph's Parochial School, a fairly recent addition to the educational scene, is located just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Kerr Memorial Park. The Friends School, very first in the community, was in session for something more than 3 decades before its neighboring meeting house was built. Just outside town, high on a hill overlooking the valley, the Downingtown Industrial and Agricultural School, unique among area educational plans. It was founded in 1905 to meet the need of Negroes moving up from the South to the rapidly expanding industrial areas in the North. It was started by Baptist clergymen and laymen. It has had several disastrous fires, but with the aid of the Downingtown townspeople, always fought back. Today, it is a private school accredited by the Pennsylvania State Department of Education, has 130 students of high school age, both boys and girls, mostly from Philadelphia, who live on the campus with supervision around the clock. Qualified graduates move on to college. Downingtown's oldest building, constructed early in the 18th century, houses the Downingtown Chamber of Commerce. It's a log cabin, and its Commerce President, Warren Straw Snyder, is a very proud man. Mr. Straw Snyder is president of the Central Chester County Chamber of Commerce, located right here in Downingtown, of course. What is the economic picture of this fine little community?
Roy, the economic picture here in Downingtown is very, very excellent. Frankly, it might be said that unemployment is something that's almost unknown here in the area. We find most of our employers and our businessmen and our merchants, if they have any problem at all, it's really in finding employees rather than having more employees available than the need that has been determined. So I would really say, Roy, that the economic climate is very excellent, incomes are good, employment is high.
Downingtown's industrial climate is so healthy and prosperous it borders on the unusual. In addition to more than a score of firms now doing business, there are new buildings awaiting with open doors for those who seek to settle in the area. The millions of dollars already invested are finding additional millions being spent to expand present facilities. The workforce recruited largely from outside the borough limits. More than 75% of those employed in Downingtown's industrial facilities do not live in the borough. The Downingtown Iron Works employs more than 200, has undergone considerable expansion since its founding in 1913. Today, it fabricates quality steel and alloy pressure vessels, heat exchangers, and similar equipment used by chemical, petroleum, pharmaceutical, and food industries. If it can be shipped by rail or truck, Downingtown Iron can handle it, as the company has fabricated vessels up to 150 feet long and weighing more than 80 tons for shipment in one piece. Just down the road, the Brandywine Paper Company, who deal in paper board and related products. The largest over-the-road movers of bulk liquid and dry commodities in the nation has its headquarters in Downingtown. The chemical Lehman tank lines employ more than 1,700 persons at its more than 3 dozen terminals across the nation, operate more than 900 tractor-trailer units. The huge tank units can handle some 700 different liquid products, and 42 dry bulk products are moved in specially constructed tanks. The Downingtown-based company's operations cover the United States from coast to coast in both directions. The next time you see Guindy on the side of a huge trailer traveling the highway, remember it was built in Downingtown. More than 5,000 trailers of all types are turned out each year at the plant, employing more than 400 persons. One product, impaled by Guindy trailers to grace the dining tables of Americans everywhere, comes from one of Downingtown and Chester County's largest employers. And of course, one of the country's best-known bakery products. Downingtown plant manager John Grigg spells out the interesting facts. Mr. Griggs is manager of Pepperidge Farms, the largest industry in Downingtown, the third largest in Chester County. What made Pepperidge Farms decide to base its plants in Downingtown?
Well, our company was started in 1937 up in Connecticut, and from that plant there, we were able to service the major markets of Boston and New York, and we decided that we should expand the facility in 1949 and came to Downingtown because of its proximity to Philadelphia, Washington, and we could also get into New York from here. We started in 1949 with 65 people at Pepperidge Farm, and we've now grown to almost 900, which makes us the largest industry in the community, and annually our payroll and fringe benefits for the people who work at Pepperidge Farm comes to over $5 million. We also came to this area because the labor force was the kind that we had in our Connecticut plant and the kind that we like to work with because we produce high-quality premium food products.
Pepperidge Farm products are now sold in all 50 states. Only in Downingtown are all of the items turned out: the bread and the rolls, the frozen foods, and the cookies and the crackers. This new bakery, covering 53,000 square feet, will soon be turning out cookies and crackers. The company has expanded more than 100,000 square feet in the past 6 months. In addition to its many products now available, it works in almost Pentagon-type security on pilot products for future consumer enjoyment. Meanwhile, turning out the popular Pepperidge bread for distribution. Now, inspection and quality control are so strict at Pepperidge that anyone who dare breathes the phrase, "Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles," around a Pepperidge production line is immediately banished to the isolation room, pelted with cracker crumbs until a promise is extracted not to repeat the offense. The recipes originated by Pepperidge founder Margaret Rudkin are jealously guarded as the gold at Fort Knox. They're whipped into final form at the huge Downingtown plant and then sent on their way to gourmets and gourmands everywhere. Many industries of Downingtown are closely united both in manufacturing and distribution by the Brandywine Creek, for Downingtown's paper products are known all across this land. The starting point for much of this is Beloit Eastern, the largest paper machinery manufacturers in the world. The Downingtown plant of Beloit employs 750, turns out massive precision paper-making machinery for mills throughout the country and abroad. Now, without getting too technical, suffice it that Beloit's units are in many instances longer than a football field, may be as high as a two-story building at one point, and carry a total weight in excess of 5 million pounds. More than 125 freight cars have been used to carry Beloit products to the mill. The highly skilled pattern makers seeking new and better ways to improve the end product. So successful has been Beloit that in little more than a decade, it has grown from an organization with 1,600 employees at its plants to now more than 10,000. The Downingtown plant, fifth in size for the Wisconsin-based firm. And just to keep it all in perspective, Beloit Eastern makes plastic injection molding machines which turn out water pistols, sunglasses, plastic bottle tops, and also the highly popular and very noisy Vroom motors familiar to anyone with small children around the house. One of Beloit Eastern's good customers is just a few blocks away, the Downingtown Paper Company, manufacturers of quality paper board since 1881, now under the guidance of the McIlvaine family's third generation. The McIlvaine's original lumber business in Philadelphia started with a land grant from William Penn. Today, Downingtown Paper has more than 600 employees and a yearly payroll that tops $4,300,000. From the moment the scrap paper is brought to the big plant, mixed and boiled and moved through other complicated procedures necessary to bring about the final product, the total paper board turned out here each 12 months tops 90,000 tons. Much of the equipment in the plant fully automated. The initial step in the making of paperboard, the dumping of scrap paper into a huge vat where the water causes it to revolve and the good paper separated from the bad paper, and from there on to the final product. 3 giant paper machines are used to make the paperboard, which is cut to size and then weighed and shipped for distribution all across the country. It is sent out in rolls and sheets, and because of the importance of the Brandywine Creek, not only to Downingtown Paper, but to all industry in the community, the paper company recently completed a $500,000 water treatment plant. This plant, just adjacent to the huge factory, is part of Pennsylvania's Clear Stream program, and the huge filtration plant, of course, prevents pollution of the very important Brandywine Creek. Now, it would follow that if you're going to make paperboard, you might just as well get into the packaging business. And that's just what Downingtown Paper has done. Its paper box company, just up the road a piece, makes packages for dozens of nationally known products. The company has something like 300 brand names on its log of customers. The paperboard coming from the parent plant, where it is cut to size and then imprinted with names you're also very familiar with. To mention just a few: Revlon, Fels Naphtha, Roytan, Persona, Wise for potato chips, and so on and so on. The company's skilled workers can turn out boxes ranging from those used to hold razor blades to those used to hold blankets. Among its many products, an inner carton used by Pepperidge Farms for some of their fine baked goods. So it's easy to see why the Brandywine Creek means so very much to the industrial life of Downingtown. From paper machinery manufacturing at Beloit, to paper box at Downingtown Paper, to paper box packaging, also part of Downingtown Paper, and other integrated business life of the busily growing industrial community. With all its industrial explosion, Downingtown has not overlooked the potential for business expansion and shopping centers as outlined on this Downingtown salute by business executive Tom Roberts.
Well, we have a tract of ground which is located in the center of Downingtown. It's about a 4-acre tract. At the present time, we have an A&P supermarket. We're planning an expansion of this area. We hope to put in at least 20,000 additional square feet of store space. We're also presently negotiating with the A&P for an addition which they may want to put on their store because of the need for expanded facilities. I think the growth of the area, we've experienced a great deal of interest within the past 6-month period, which I think is indicative of the possible future commercial growth of the area.
To accommodate the planned new shopping center and 250-car parking lot, much of the area around it will be raised for other new construction, according to Assistant Borough Manager Don Greenleaf, Project Director for Downingtown's Urban Renewal. Mr. Greenleaf, what has been planned for Downingtown in the way of urban renewal in the years ahead?
Downingtown has been looking ahead to the future years by working with the Chester County Redevelopment Authority in promoting the Downingtown Center, which is seen here on the plan next to us. This plan calls for 30,000 square feet of commercial stores here, which will be new, a 250-car parking lot, a rehabilitation of the existing commercial area on the Lancaster Avenue. And while this area is out of the project area itself, they propose expansion of the A&P store and new facilities along Wallace Avenue.
In the center of town, the raising of one of Downingtown's long familiar landmarks continues, giving way to construction of a new bank building, soon to be erected by the Downingtown Savings and Loan Company. They will move directly across the street. Banking facilities in the community, of course, growing to meet the needs of the time. Locations not only in the heart of town, but branches, now so much a part of any banking effort in any community, being built where needed to accommodate the customers of Downingtown's banking facilities. Downingtown's excellent water supply and accessibility has been a good fire record for the town and low insurance rates with 2 well-equipped companies, Minquas and the Alert. A complete replacement of all equipment for both companies now in progress. All of this of great import to Chamber of Commerce President Warren Straw Snyder.
Well, Downingtown remains prepared for this growth, and they are, of course, involved in some very excellent planning to take care of the growth as we know it will exist in the next several years. You have already been explained, or had explained to you, some of our plans for urban renewal, redevelopment of our commercial shopping areas. You will be seeing or have seen some of the very fine new homes and apartment units that have been completed and are being completed. We have and will have a new and completely revitalized shopping center. Industrial expansion continues to move forward, and we know that Downingtown will be able to keep pace with all of the growth that is anticipated.
Directly across Route 30 from the great Downingtown Farmers Market and Auction, the Downingtown Motor Inn. owned and operated by the Tabus family, whose role in the Downingtown industrial growth cannot be overestimated. Brothers Dan and Charles Tabus operate the inn and its many facilities in first-class fashion. And more importantly, they are among the nation's leading missionaries in attracting new industry to Downingtown. They build plants of various sizes and shapes and then go out and sell the facility to any of the nation's top companies who might be attracted to Downingtown. One of their projects has just been acquired by a leading firm of these United States, revealed here exclusively in this salute to Downingtown by Warren Straw-Snyder, president of the Chamber of Commerce.
Downingtown is indeed pleased to welcome a new industrial neighbor, the American Viscose division of the FMC Corporation. American Viscose has just announced today that they are going to locate in a 50,000 square foot building which has become available to them here in Downingtown, and that they plan to become involved in the manufacture of the plastic and fiber materials here in Downingtown. This particular new plant, which will be located in Downingtown, will be operational and will be marketing its first new products by fall of this year.
This handsome new building, built by the Tabus brothers, will house the multi-million-dollar American Viscose operation, where about 50 will be employed at the start, with a contemplated workforce of more than 200 in the not-too-distant future. Many of them will come to Downingtown with some more than 4,000 other workers by way of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Or they will take Route 30's high-speed 4 lanes, which feed traffic into Downingtown. Or they can come by the main line of the Pennsylvania Railroad. For these are among the very big reasons why Downingtown's proximity to the vast eastern market area has made it so attractive for industry and industrial expansion. And Borough Manager Walter Leland is ready for whatever tomorrow might bring to Downingtown and its rapid industrial growth and residential growth. Mr. Leland, on what premise do you proceed as Borough Manager for the immediate future of Downingtown?
I think that the most important thing is to endeavor to maintain a contented community. We feel definitely that this helps both in industry and in the general living climate. To do this, what I mean, our target is to limit ordinances, restrictive ordinances, to the least necessary, and to humanize our regulations so that people can enjoy living in this suburban community.
The WFIL station salute Downingtown, Pennsylvania, hub of Chester County.